And I think this can be extrapolated to medicine also. Like medicine is also a thing of many disciplines. It has the medical and the biological and the psychological and the historic. So the doctor who's going through school, must go beyond pharmacology and biology and incorporate all those areas. I'm reading now the copy you have for one of your companies, Potential Life. It says helping every person own the difference they want to make in the world. And I think the key word here is own. You're talking about ownership. And again, it's about a story of how we design the story we tell about ourselves, about our place in the world. Why is ownership needed to transform paradigms in the world? And how can we individually and collectively nurture this ownership?
Victor, maybe I can share a story with you, a story that one of my teachers tells, and I think for me captures this idea of ownership. So Nathaniel Branden was a psychologist, passed away a few years ago, and he's considered the father of the self-esteem movement. And he talks about his 6 pillars of self-esteem, which include self-acceptance, which includes self-consciousness, which includes integrity. And one of these pillars is taking responsibility. And he tells the following story that he says, you take responsibility for your life when you realize that no one is coming. And when you realize that no one is coming, that's when you take responsibility for your life, and that's when you cultivate healthy self-esteem, self-confidence. So he was in one of these 3-day workshops. He was talking to the audience, and he got to talking about taking responsibility, and he said to them, and you need to realize that no one is coming. And then one of his students, who was sitting all the way in the back of the room, puts his hand up and says, Dr. Branden, I understand the importance of taking responsibility. I also understand why you're telling us that no one is coming, but Dr. Branden, I disagree. So Nathaniel Branden asks him, how do you mean you disagree? And he says, well, Dr. Branden, I disagree that no one is coming because Dr. Branden, you came. Now, this student was obviously overwhelmed by Dr. Branden's presentation. So Nathaniel Branden thinks for a few seconds, and then he says to the young man, he says, you're right. I came, but I came to tell you that no one is coming. And I've always thought about the story of how important it is not to wait for that manager who will liberate us, for that political leader who will make all the difference, for that partner who will finally make us happy. It's really ultimately up to us to take responsibility for our life, for our future, and for the future of our of those we come in contact with. And it's if more and more people take responsibility, realize that no one is coming, that will make a big difference in our collective, not just individual, in our collective futures.